Hello, welcome to this Ansys Workbench mechanical demonstration brought to you by Simutech Group. Today we'll be taking a look at the recently added coupled field analysis module, which allows the modeling of thermal and structural physics both simultaneously and interactively. An otherwise approach might be to first run a thermal analysis and then map the results to a structural module. However, this classic workflow precludes the possibility of the structural deformation then informing the thermal analysis, potentially leaving part of the design behavior uncovered. With the coupled field analysis, the thermal and structural solutions are calculated in parallel and inform one another mid-solution. During a nonlinear solve, both thermal and structural convergence are required at each substep, making it a valuable tool for analyzing systems with thermal and structural codependency, such as frictional heating or heat generation due to plastic deformation. Today, we'll stick with a few simpler examples. First, we'll briefly overview the setup and results of a simple model which highlights the coupled nature of the solution process. This will be followed by a more in-depth walkthrough of a press fit analysis subjected to multiple sets of changing thermal and structural loading. This is a model of a hypothetical widget. Its purpose perhaps is to function as some kind of switch that closes when the protruding tab comes into contact with the base. While it has already been solved, let's quickly review the setup. Thermally, we have a high temperature condition on this edge and a low temperature condition on this edge. Structurally, an increasing downward force load is applied on this circular face, incrementally deflecting the tab further toward the base. A frictionless contact is defined between the tab underside and the base, preventing the tab from passing through this surface. At first, the thermal gradient follows the expected path and the cantilevered tab has a more or less uniform temperature. This remains the case for the next two load steps as the tab deflects further. When the tab begins to contact the base, however, the solver responds to the newly opened thermal path and a new gradient emerges through the tab, across the contact, and out to the low temperature edge. While this model provides a visually clear example of the capabilities unlocked with the coupled field analysis, the next example provides perhaps a more practical application. Let's get started. This model consists of a shaft which is joined with this gear assembly using a press fit, which must be capable of transmitting 100 pound-inches of torque from the shaft to turn the gear. There are also a multitude of potential thermal scenarios to take into consideration. A set of temperature gradients is anticipated to occur through the assembly, while various amounts of heat are expected to soak into the gear through its interaction with an adjoining high-temperature gear. Lastly, designers have been tinkering with the idea of introducing some forced convection across the gear face to help cool the assembly. Of chief interest is to understand the impact thermal load combinations have on the ability of the press fit to transmit the required torque. With temperature-dependent material properties and a frictional contact at play, the problem requires a nonlinear solution that lends well to the capabilities of the coupled field analysis. With the groundwork laid, we'll go ahead and dive in. After starting a fresh Workbench project, the first thing we'll do is drag and drop a coupled field static analysis onto the project page, followed by importing the step file of our gear assembly into the module. We're not concerned with the complexity of the gear teeth for this analysis, so we have removed them from the CAD model, which will reduce our mesh count and help the model run faster. Let's define our materials by opening the engineering data window. We could define materials here manually, but for this demonstration we have our data saved in an XML file that we can easily import into Workbench. This analysis will use 304 stainless and Inconel, and by quick inspection, we see that they have been given temperature-dependent CTE values. The same goes for our elasticity definitions as well as for thermal conductivity. We can now close engineering data and open up the model in mechanical. First off, let's assign the materials to the parts. The gear is 304 stainless and the shaft is Inconel. Next, we need to define the connections between the parts, but to better view the press fit region, let's first create a cut plane down the axis of the assembly. We'd like a frictionless contact at this interface, a frictional contact at the press fit interface, and this last interface should be frictionless like the first. We can quickly generate these automatically through the use of a connection group. We only want contact on touching surfaces that are parallel, so we'll set the face-face angle tolerance to 90 degrees, and we want a separate definition for each contact, so we'll set the group by option to faces. Now we can right-click on the connections group and generate the connections. Once created, we can check them one by one to make sure that we've created only the 3 contacts that were intended, which here is indeed the case. For this analysis, we'll want to force the shaft surfaces to be the contact side, so we'll set all 3 to have asymmetric behavior and then flip the contact target assignments. Note that the generated contacts are bonded by default, so we have to manually change the appropriate 2 contacts to frictionless and the remaining contact to frictional. Finally, we'll give this contact a friction coefficient value of 0.4. It is now time to begin meshing the model. Let's see what the default mesh looks like. Obviously, we're going to need some refinement here. We'll start by first turning off global adaptive meshing. Then, we can nicely sweep these bodies by using a mesh method, assigning it to both bodies, setting it to sweep, and using the axisymmetric algorithm. Let's check the mesh improvement. It's looking better, but it would be nice to have a bit more refinement. We'll use a body sizing to set the shaft element size to 0.1 inches, assigning it to both, and another to set the gear element size to 0.2 inches. Let's check again. This time we're getting there, but a peek at the press fit cross-section indicates we could use a bit more elements across the contact surface. By first selecting the contact surface face using the surface selection tool, we'll use a face sizing to halve the element size of the surface to 50 thousandths and remesh one more time. For the purposes of this demonstration, this mesh should be more than adequate. Now that we've meshed our parts, we can use a contact tool to check the initial status of our 3 contacts. We'll drop in a status plot and hit generate. The joint design is to have 0.8 thousandths of interference for the press fit, which we can verify by opening the initial information table and noting the penetration values for the frictional contact. Here, all looks to be in order, and looking at the status plot confirms that our frictionless contacts are in a state of sliding and that our frictional contact is in a state of sticking as intended. Now we're ready to start setting up the solution by first going into the analysis settings and telling the solver we want to run 10 load steps to cover all our load combinations. This is also a good time to take note of the physics region object, where we can choose which bodies should be structural, thermal, or both. Before anything else, let's put a contact step control into the tree. We'll use this tool to slowly increase the stiffness of our frictional contact over the first few load steps, which we'll reserve just for this purpose, in order to reduce the penetration error to acceptable levels. This is good practice for interference fits and will produce more accurate results. For this demonstration, the data for our loads have been stored in a spreadsheet from which we can easily copy and then paste into mechanical. Let's start applying thermal loads. We'll insert a temperature load and assign it to the farthest gear end. Pasting in our data, we can see that the temperature rises from room temperature to 500 degrees Fahrenheit, after which it's held constant. No high temperatures are applied in the first 3 steps, as those are reserved for reducing the contact penetration error. For the cool boundary, we'll add another temperature load, assign it to the shaft end, and leave the default room temperature value for each step. Next, we'll add a heat flux load to the gear outer diameter and paste in our load data from the spreadsheet. The load plot here indicates that the heat generation is applied at a constant value while the temperature load increases, then slowly reduces by about half for the remainder of the analysis. Last of the thermal loads is the convection, which will apply to the shaft-facing surface of the gear. Pasting in our data, we can take note that only the last two steps have any convective cooling at play. Now, onto the structural conditions, of which there are three. First up is the frictionless support. We'll assign this to these two surfaces on this end, and this surface on this end. Second, we'll apply a remote displacement to the gear outer diameter. We can prevent the gear from rotating about its axis by entering 0 into the RZ field. This boundary is what our applied moment will ultimately react through. Speaking of which, the last load to include is the torque delivered to the assembly, which will apply to this surface of the shaft. We'll then choose to define this applied moment by component and paste in the load data from our sheet. After the contact error steps, the load increases to 100 pound-inches and remains there for the duration. We can now solve the model. With the current setup and using 3 laptop cores, this is approximately a 30-minute solve. See you on the other side. With the solution finished, we can start post-processing. With the thermomechanical coupled field analysis, we have all the standard structural results available to us, such as deformation, strain, stress. Let's put a von Mises stress result into the tree. We also have access to the standard thermal results, like temperature and heat flux. Let's put in a temperature plot, but let's also ask Ansys for a heat flux plot as well. We'll go ahead and evaluate these so we can take a look. The stress distribution in general looks about how we would expect, with maximum values rising as the thermal loads are applied, and then dropping significantly as the convection cooling is turned on. Looking at the temperature plot, we find the expected gradient from one end to the other, with the average temperature falling with the introduction of convection. Finally, we can turn vectors on in our heat flux plot to see that as the convection is applied, heat is diverted out of the bodies into the environment. The main point of inquiry here, though, was to understand the impact these loads have on the effectiveness of the press fit. We can get some quick insight by evaluating a contact tool and looking at the status plot. These results indicate the friction coefficient of 0.4 was indeed enough to prevent the shaft from slipping inside the gear, but 0.4 was really just a guess on our part. To gain further insight into the frictional values needed to prevent slipping, we can get creative with result quantities by inserting a user-defined result, applying it to the frictional contact surface, and entering the following expression, which requests a plot of the contact frictional stress divided by the contact pressure. The resulting contour is of the friction coefficient required to prevent slipping, and by looking at results from around 5.5 seconds, we can see that indeed that number rose to 0.4 for a time during the solution. We can then animate this result to get a feel for how the frictional threshold distribution responds to the various load combinations. That's where we'll leave off with this demonstration, which only scratches the surface of what this analysis type has to offer. Possibilities include activating electrical physics, running transient analyses, or applying loads like plastic heating or viscoelastic heating. As Ansys continues to push the standards of simulation software into the future, the capabilities of the coupled field analysis continues to grow ever more robust. Thanks for watching this Ansys Workbench mechanical demonstration brought to you by Simutech Group.